Hello, I'm Sensei Kakuyo, North American contributor for Buddhist Global. Thanks for joining me for this episode of The Ordinary Buddhist. The title of today's Dharma talk is Single-Pointed Concentration. Before we get into that, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. One of the great emphases of Buddhist practice, one of our primary focuses, is learning how to calm our mind. Our actions, our speech, they all come from our thoughts. So if our thoughts are out of control, by extension, our actions and our speech will also be out of control, thus causing suffering for ourselves and others. Conversely, if we are able to calm our minds, then our speech and actions will also be calm, which will end suffering for ourselves and others. But how do we do this? Well, in Buddhism, we practice something called single-pointed concentration. And it works off a very simple truth, which is that the human mind cannot do two things at once. It's been proven scientifically that when we think we're multitasking, what we're actually doing is switching back and forth between multiple things. And what generally happens is we end up doing most of them not as well as if we focused on one thing at a time, giving it all of our attention. Knowing this, knowing that the human brain is unable to multitask, if we give ourselves one thing to focus on, everything else falls away. As an example, if someone says something to me that upsets me and it causes me to feel great anger, I can choose to focus on my anger, stoking the flames until it consumes me, or I can choose to focus on my breath. And each time I make the choice to focus on my breath and not my anger, I pull energy away from the defilement of anger. The flames lessen until eventually they're gone altogether. It works the same way as a literal fire once we stop putting wood upon it. Sure, it'll keep burning for a while, but eventually we can starve out the flames. We can starve the fire of our anger. This is also true of greed, ignorance. All the defilements that enter our mind can be removed through the process of single-pointed concentration. All it takes is something to focus on and a little bit of patience. Now, as I stated, generally in Buddhism, we choose our breath as our primary focus, focusing on the feeling of air moving in and out of our lungs, focusing on the expansion and contraction of our chest as we breathe. But there are also other things we can use for our single-pointed concentration. So, for example, if we're having troublesome thoughts and we're walking around, we might focus on the feeling of the ground beneath our feet. And every time our mind wanders back to our troublesome thoughts, we don't get upset. We simply remind ourselves what we're doing and bring our focus back to the feeling of the ground beneath our feet. Each time we do this, it takes energy away from our defiled thoughts, the flames die down, and eventually they go away altogether. So next time we're in a situation where we need to calm our minds, I encourage you, instead of focusing on your defiled thoughts, focus on your breath, focus on the ground beneath your feet, or find something else that you enjoy to focus on. By practicing single-pointed concentration, we can calm our minds and end suffering not just for ourselves, but for the people around us as well. Amitabha.